So we'll start in a comfortable position, in that nice, relaxed place. Whew, my body knows when I've just come on the mat, it all of a sudden begins to yawn. So let's, if you are going to use oil today, start with a drop or two on the palm of your hand. Tonight I'm going to use clove bud oil. If you do have clove bud though, one thing I sometimes I probably forget to say, but clove bud is dangerous for dogs and cats. So just make sure, I shouldn't say dangerous, but they shouldn't be around it and they shouldn't have it. So just make sure if the critters are around, you're keeping this off them and away from them. But clove bud, a very beautiful scent. We all know it's usually in baking, but it's very good to clear the head, helps with rational thought, and a very grounding scent. And grounding is what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on connecting to the earth, connecting to our mats, and connecting to the root chakra, the first energy chakra that's located at the base of the spine, in the bottom 3 vertebrae. So when you're ready, after a couple of big breaths in and out from the oils, you can set your hands on your lap or on the knees, whichever feels better. And I want you to start breathing into that root chakra area. So find your attention right on the sit bones. Now, this is a place where when the energy is balanced, we feel safe, secure, content, happy, and usually can find some inner peace. So I want you to tap into those feelings, those inner feelings right now, and just embrace that positive energy. Now I want you to also, while you're doing this, visualize a brilliant red color, almost like a red ball of energy at the base of the spine that represents the root chakra. Also associated with the root chakra are emotional needs and functions such as family loyalty, our core beliefs and values. So when we're wanting to connect to the root chakra, sometimes revisiting our core beliefs and core values is a great thing. Visualize perhaps roots growing from the sit bones like a tree all the way down into the earth. Really connecting to the earth's energy and all the healing powers of just being in nature, the beauty of nature. Now, the poses we will go through today are aimed at both stimulating and releasing energy from the Muladhara or root chakra in order to allow for true transformation and personal growth. So I want you to set your intention for the practice today around grounding and your own personal transformations in any way you feel will benefit you. And today's self-care tip is also to allow yourself and give yourself the gift of a full day off. Just allowing you to focus on the things that bring you joy and peace. Maybe that's stepping away from electronics. Maybe it's spending a day in silence by yourself, maybe in nature. Now on the next breath, you can gently open your eyes if you wish, or keep them closed, that's fine. We're going to move into child's pose. So we're going to get ourselves into that grounding position, allowing the whole body to relax and feel supported by the ground beneath you. So extend the arms, drop the forehead, knees nice and wide, toes touch.
Oh, and just take 2 or 3 nice big inhales and exhales, just allowing your body to sink further into the ground. And throughout today's practice, I want you to visualize really anything that represents the earth element. You might visualize yourself with your hands in the dirt, maybe gardening, maybe walking through the forest, perhaps sitting on the beach looking out onto the ocean, something that resonates well with you, that allows you to connect to nature and earth. Sending out pure healing energy, vibrations, and also receiving it back. Just really enjoying this feeling of relaxation and peace, and opening into the hips a little bit as well as we push the hips towards the heels. Maybe with those arms reached overhead, you also feel a nice stretch along the side of the body. And just notice how good it feels to be here in that space of self-care. Slowly beginning to rise up. Now from here, I'm going to give you a couple of options. I'm going to give you a yin option and more of a yang option. So the yin option, we're going to come onto the seat and come into butterfly. So the feet can be away from the body, making more of a diamond shape, or you can draw the feet in, or so coming into butterfly in a seated position, or your yang option is your feet nice and wide and knees off to the side, kind of the yogi squat position. So I'm going to have you guys choose which option you think you want to do today, because this is still going to put you into a yin position in the sense that we're going to sit here for about 3 minutes. So pushing the elbows in towards the knees, allowing those hips to come down to the ground. Now, if this position isn't comfortable and you can't get the heels on the ground, take a bolster or a block underneath the hips and just kind of sit back on that as well. So you can do that where you're almost sitting back into a seated position. So that can be an option too. So whatever you choose, find some stillness, allowing yourself to relax, maybe even closing the eyes. Now, if you are in yogi squat, making sure that you are sitting up nice and tall. And again, either feet or eyes can be closed or just in kind of eyes gaze to the floor. Just so you've got a soft gaze. Now it's said that this pose brings you close to the earth and helps to calm the mind and spirit. It also helps to open into the hips, but also strengthen into the low back and the ankles as well. Now, if you're in yogi squat position and you start to feel like your body's getting sore or it's like a struggle to hold this position, I want you to come out of it and go into butterfly. So I want you to really maintain that feeling of peace. So again, if it starts to feel too much like work, come out of it. We've got about 30 more seconds here. See if you can sit a little taller, knees a little wider. Rock back and forth. All right, now on the next breath, you can take your hands to the ground. Now, if you are in yogi squat and it feels good for you, you can just extend into the legs or come down into a seated position. You can also extend the legs straight out of you, but if you can just stand, just even for a few breaths, just coming into that forward fold, just allowing the blood flow to come back into the legs. And from here, if you do want to have a seat and extend the legs forward, coming into a forward fold, please do so. But if you do want to stay standing forward fold, as long as it's not hurting the back, please feel free to stay there as well. So wherever you are, I want you to keep the shoulders down and away from the ears. Finding that breath and really focus on finding your center, your calmness, easing the mind, easing the body. Letting the whole body just surrender to the earth. Noticing a light stretch in the low back and the hamstrings. So
lengthen into the back side of the body, releasing any tension, releasing any fear or limiting beliefs around money. That's usually what the low back pain energetically can be tied to. Staying in the present moment, feeling those sit bones on the ground. And on the next breath, slowly begin to rise and take your hands behind you for a moment. Roll the shoulders down away from the ears and shine the chest to the sky. A little bit of a back bend here. And on the next breath, gently relax. I want you to bring yourself now down onto your back. Once you get down there, let's draw the right knee in towards the chest, just giving yourself a nice hug into that knee. Now from here, let's take that right knee off to the side. You can grab onto that right foot and maybe even just draw it a little closer if you can, but help that foot kind of tuck into the left thigh. So we're coming into lying tree pose here. So of course in a yang practice, we'd be standing. But in this practice, we're lying on the ground. We're staying connected to the earth. Option, you can raise one hand, so the right hand, or you can raise both overhead, as long as it's okay for the shoulders. Shoulders need to be on the ground. Elbows can be towards the ground, maybe bent a little. Focusing on those nice, big breaths in and out. Posture. Notice the opening into the right hip. Really embracing the feeling of support on the mat. Letting it almost be a metaphor for your life of that you are supported, feeling supported, allowing yourself to feel supported in any way that you need. Taking this opportunity to just love your body, connecting to the organs. On the next inhale, which again, move really nice and slow. So we want to move slow out of these postures and in these postures. So slowly take your arms, if they're overhead, and just draw them down by your side. And then gently draw the right knee in towards your chest, just drawing it in. Let's give it a nice big hug. Now from here, the right arm's going to go off to the side,
right knee off to the left. You can drop that right foot to the ground or hug it behind the left knee. Left arm can stay on the knee or extend to the left. And then the head can roll off to the right. Now, if you're not feeling it super comfortable on the side, I know I like to have a bolster underneath my knee and my leg here sometimes. So feel free to do that and use your bolster for support in any way you need. It's always nice to have the block and the bolster close by in case you need it. Now, as we twist up the spine here, just send the breath there. Send that healing energy to that area. Maybe notice if there's any areas that are giving you any problems, something that doesn't feel quite right. Allowing yourself to breathe and relax, connect. Maybe for a moment revisiting that visualization of you enjoying nature. Maybe noticing a new aspect. Maybe you're walking in the forest and you see a beautiful animal. You see a deer in the distance, maybe a wolf, maybe a bear. Connecting with a part of nature that you might not be able to connect with in real life. Perhaps visualize giving the bear a big hug or the wolf a big kiss on its snout. Something almost silly, but knowing that you can connect with nature in any way that you want in this moment. On the next breath, slowly come out of this rotation. So head can come back to the center. Gently drop the hip back to the ground. And when you get there, draw the knee in towards the chest. Give it a nice big hug. Maybe even roll that knee around a little bit, just kind of loosening up that hip. And then when you're ready, hug both knees in towards the chest. Gently roll it, rock side to side, relieving the spine. And from there, extend the right leg down, left knee hugs in. Drawing everything in. Now when you're ready, let's come into tree pose on this side. So lying or reclining tree, tucking the bottom of that left foot in towards the right thigh. Noticing how this opening feels. I know for me it feels a little bit different, and I do need to put a bolster or something on the other side. So make those adjustments that you need to feel super supported. Now from here, you can draw those arms up overhead like we would in a standing tree pose, or arms can go off to the side or remain on the belly. Now when you're here, let's connect to the trees in your mind. Just perhaps visualize yourself standing below a big, beautiful tree. Maybe a big spruce tree that's decades old. Noticing its big trunk and its strong roots growing into the ground. Looking up, you see it growing tall to the sky. Maybe wrapping your arms around that big tree, pressing your ear to its bark.
see if you can tap into its wisdom. Maybe even asking while you're there, what do I need to know? Maybe even just asking a simple question to asking for an answer, I should say, to a simple question that you have. Maybe asking the earth, Mother Nature, while you're there, to relieve you of some physical or emotional burden. Maybe relieve you of some pain and just notice what happens. Breath, moving slowly, taking those arms down by your side, gently allowing the knee to come to the center, hugging that knee in towards the chest, just relieving that back for just a moment. And from here, when you're ready, taking the right hand and helping that left knee off to the side, placing your bolster if you need to again, or your block. Keeping the left shoulder on the ground, arms come out to the side, feeling that nice opening in the chest as well. Relaxing, releasing. Moment, perhaps revisiting your tree hugging moment, or another moment that allows you to connect to the earth, feeling its beauty in the mind. On the next breath, slowly take your head back to the center. Slowly draw that left knee up again, hugging the knee in towards the chest, gently rocking side to side.
And from here, hugging both knees in towards the chest. And from here, taking the feet down to the ground. Now, if you do have your bolster or a block close by, let's take it, lift the hips up and take your bolster or a block, whichever feels better or more handy, and just set the bottom of the spine, so they're just below the low back, and set that on the block or the bolster. Now, from here, if it feels better on your back, just, keep the legs bent and just feel this nice supported bridge pose. But if you can, it feels okay on your back, making sure, again, this isn't on your low back, it's lower than your low back. Extend into the right leg, coming into a really nice gentle back bend here, lengthening into the hip flexor on the right-hand side. Depending on how big your bolster is, this might feel a little bit more open than if you've got a shorter bolster or a block, so adjust as necessary. I encourage you now, if you're in this position, to allow the palms to face open towards the sky. Being open and receptive to the energy of the practice. Feeling that full support of the earth. Balancing that root chakra, feeling safe, feeling secure, feeling happy, content. On the next breath, moving slowly, bending into the right leg. Again, moving really nice and slow. Feeling free to hug that knee in towards the chest if you wish, giving your low back just a little bit of a break. And then from here, setting the right foot down on the ground, extending into the left foot, opening into that hip flexor on the left. As we're in some of these last few poses, we're coming into the back part of our practice. Notice the difference in how you feel now. Have you been able to relax into the pose? Do you feel more content? Are you able to sit with yourself and your thoughts? chest, just slowly start to bend into that left knee. Bringing both knees now in towards the chest, maybe even feeling yourself rolling off and coming off the bolster, rolling into the back. Pushing the bolster or the block away from you, just off to the side. From here, we're just gonna gently roll off to one side and come right onto our stomach. Now, if you do have that bolster nice and close or a pillow, let's take it so that it's underneath the hips. And starting on the stomach, starting on the elbows. Feet can be flat on the floor, almost a supported sphinx, just for a few breaths, just getting into that back bend there. And we'll move into a couple of forward folds as we begin to conclude our practice. So from here, dropping the head onto stacked hands, elbows off to the side, just leaving those hips up to the sky as it rests just on the bolster. Almost a nice restorative, gentle forward fold. Doesn't seem like a forward fold, but lifting the hips up a little bit allows the back to come forward slightly. So notice how it feels on the back. Getting that nice stretch on the spine. Now, if it feels more comfortable, one ear can come to the ground. You can come right to the ground, actually, if you want to as well. Arms and hands out to the side. Feeling yourself just completely surrendering to the mat. Surrendering to the energy of the earth, the universe, creator, spirit, God, whatever you choose to call it, connecting to the soul. Maybe while you're here, as you feel that nice connection, you can repeat a few mantras to yourself, starting with an I am. Now, this is a perfect position for the mantras. I am safe. I am secure. I am safe. I am secure. Everything is okay. And on the next breath, slowly take the hands underneath the shoulders. Just engaging the belly slightly, just so we can lift off the bolster. Sitting back into child's pose once again. Extending the arms, maybe taking that bolster away. From here, taking that the right arm underneath the left. Taking those knees nice and wide, rotating that child's pose. Feeling that length in the back side of the arm. Just for a few breaths here. And on the next breath, I want you to come forward, up onto the hands and knees, step forward with the left leg, coming into dragon pose. So keeping the hands on the ground. We're only going to stay for a few breaths. Think about pushing the hips towards the ground.
hands and elbow inside of that left leg. And on the next breath, straighten into that left leg, pushing the hips back, maybe walking the hands back a little bit, lengthening into that front leg. Almost finding a little bit of a baby flow here. And on the next breath, coming forward, back into child's resting pose. Sitting the hips back, knees wide, extending the arms, forehead to the ground. And when you're ready, left arm goes underneath the right, dropping the head to the ground. Opening into that left shoulder, staying here for a few breaths. And on the next breath, slowly begin to rise. We'll come up nice and slow, stepping forward with that right leg now, right foot, dropping that left hip to the ground. So again, try to find that nice kind of slow flow as you stop and pause. And on the next breath, gently extend that front leg, pushing the hips back, walking the hands back. And as you exhale, coming forward, releasing that leg back, coming onto the hands and knees again. Knees wide, sitting those hips back, coming into child's resting pose. And on the next breath, slowly begin to rise up. Let's take those knees together, feet together. We're going to tuck those toes under, just do a little bit of a toe sit here. So while you're here, push yourself back as much as you can onto the balls of your feet. Now, if you feel like it's okay here, just stay here. But if you can sit up onto the heels. Seeing if you can rest the palms of the hands or rest the hands in the lap. Close the eyes. I want you to really breathe into this. Now this is a fairly intense stretch, really great for the feet. Very much a mind over matter pose. So connect to the breath and stay in the present moment. Allowing just a few more breaths here. And on the next breath, slowly begin to come forward. I want you just to flip your legs, flip your feet, tops of the feet on the floor. Just maybe give them a couple little smacks. And then if it's okay on the knees and the ankles, I want you to sit back like this. So the tops of the feet are on the floor. Now this might be enough for you. So now we're just getting the fronts of the ankles. But if you can, come back. And even if you can, even more, if you want to lift the knees up, you can, depending on how your ankles feel. Just a couple of breaths here. And as you exhale, release. Now coming back into child's pose, we're going to come forward with the hands onto the hands and knees. We're going to do a little bit of a flow here. So we're going to drop the hips, chest forward, back bend, and exhale into child's resting pose. So we're moving with the breath. Inhale.
modified up dog or high cobra. Exhale, child's pose, sitting back. Personally love this little flow. It's one of my favorites. So let's inhale again. Come on up. Just sink and open. And exhale back. We're going to do that 2 more times. Really nice and slow. Inhale up. Drop the hips. Exhale back. One more time each way. Inhale. Let's maybe stay here for an extra breath or 2. Exhale, push the hips back. We'll stay here for an extra breath or 2. On the next breath, coming back up into hands and knees. Let's make our way back onto our backs. Now as we come down, we're going to grab onto the toes if you can, or behind the knees is fine as well. We're going to draw ourselves into happy baby. So knees nice and wide, feet to the sky. Just a nice gentle hip opener here, rocking side to side. Letting gravity help open into the hips. Feeling that nice relief in the lower back. Now maybe from here, extend the left leg if you can. So keeping the right leg bent. Lengthen into the left leg and let that leg fall off to the side. And really bend into that knee again. Now let's go the other side. If you can, bend into that right leg. Now if you can't, hang on to the toes and do that. Just anywhere on the leg is fine. Let that leg fall open. And release to the center. Taking the feet together, knees off to the side, reclined butterfly for just a few moments here. You can use your bolster under the knees if you'd like for this one. Feels a little bit nicer sometimes. I want you to tuck your shoulder blades underneath the back, really opening into the chest. From here, you might even want to take the hands and the arms off to the side. Get a little bit of a chest opener here as well. Allowing these last few moments and breaths to open and balance into the root chakra. Seeing that red ball of light just surround your entire body. Allowing you to feel safe and secure, happy and content. And on the next breath, if you wish to straighten into the legs, you can use your bolster under the knees. That feels kind of nice sometimes. And we'll come into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Taking 2 or 3 nice big breaths in, and inhale and exhale. Palms are open, arms to the side, letting the toes just flop to the side. Just allowing the body to rest here as I lead you through a few mantras. I encourage you to say these mantras in your mind and just let them settle into each cell of the body, so that when you leave your mat this evening, you'll take the mantras with you and the energy that they provide. Starting with, I trust myself. I love life. I am grateful. I feel safe. I am secure. I am grounded. I am stable. I am loved. I trust life. I am confident. I love my body. I am abundant. I am confident. I am successful. I am in control. I am protected. I am courageous. I am prosperous. I love my life. I am nourished. I am wealthy. I am strong. I am stable. I am awake. Noticing here in stillness that when the energy of the root chakra is flowing well, you feel grounded, yet free as a bird. I invite you to stay in Shavasana if it's feeling really good for you in this moment. But if you're ready to wake up, then allow the next couple of breaths to be a little bit deeper. Starting to wiggle the fingers and the toes, waking up the physical body. When you're ready, hugging the knees in towards the chest. Gently rocking side to side. Rolling off onto the right side or left side, either one. When you're ready, coming into a comfortable seated position. Finding that nice cross-legged space, finishing with the eyes closed, maybe finishing with an oil. I'm going to take a drop or two of cedarwood oil, very grounding oil. It smells like a sauna. Cedarwood has a very strong grounding effect, so if you feel like you need more help in the root chakra, the cedarwood is a beautiful oil to choose.
Allowing the hands to come together at heart center, bowing into the hands for a moment, bowing into your heart space. Maybe revisiting your intention for a moment. I invite you this week to continue with your practice of self-care, giving yourself some permission to unplug, take the day off, do something that really makes you happy. And wishing you all much love, light, and many blessings. Namaste.